everybody, welcome to another episode of Just Open It, the YouTube series in which I open recently acquired toys. My name is Russ. Thank you very much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you're a fan of toy collecting, action figures, or pop culture in general, please subscribe to my channel, Karaoke Fanboy TV. Every week I'll be opening a recently acquired toy, action figure, or pop culture collectible. And throughout the month of February 2023, I will be opening a Masters of the Universe Origins figure every week. Simply because I have so many of them. I've been buying them since the beginning and only opening them since I started this series on my YouTube channel. So I have so many more figures and vehicles and even Castle Grayskull to open. So I thought, why not kick off this celebratory month with none other than He-Man, the most evil man in the universe? That's right. This isn't your ordinary He-Man. This is Anti-Eternia He-Man. A He-Man from some parallel dimension, I guess. Some parallel Earth where He-Man is evil and I guess the villains are good. Something like that. It originates from some, I think, German Masters of the Universe storybook in the 80s, and Masters of the Universe fandom has kind of held on to this idea of this totally black, evil He-Man, and it's incarnated itself here as this figure. Now, I do want to make some commentary on ordering toys online, because I always buy my figures right out of the toy aisle, whether it's at Walmart or Target or other unconventional stores like Burlington Coat Factory or Ross. You could find some action figures from time to time. I ordered Anti-Eternia He-Man online, kind of an anti-Russ move, something that a parallel Earth me would do. I figured, why not in the spirit of this figure? Simply because I did not see him anywhere on the pegs here in the Phoenix area where I live. So I just bit the bullet, went online, and bought him. And I know that this is a common practice for many of my fellow toy collectors, but it was truly the first time that I single-handedly went online and purchased a toy for myself. Now, fortunately, I take these figures out of the package. I know a lot of my fellow collectors don't. They prefer their figures in the package. Well, you would be sorely disappointed in the condition of this figure. You could see that in the corner, ironically where the Mattel logo is, it's totally crunched up. So that's unfortunate for display purposes. Now, it's an unpunched card, meaning this piece here that would break off when you put this on the peg in the toy aisle at a Target or whatever. It's still intact, which is awesome. But then when you go on the back of the card, you can see that the beautiful art there. Of course, I always tag, I think it's Axel Jimenez is the artist behind some of this beautiful card art. And then you see the figures in the wave that I really had a hard time finding here in the Phoenix market, like I mentioned. I only got the Horde Trooper right off the peg. But then if you're a fan of, like, mint packaging for your action figures, whoever I ordered this from on Amazon slapped a label down here, their own barcode. Now, that's understandable for inventory and so on, I'm sure, for online sales, but again, if you're a collector that prefers a crisp, clean card, well, it's immediately marred by that label. And I guess you could liken it to when you'd find like a Toys R Us or KB Toy sticker on the front of your packaging. Nowadays, there's a certain charm to that in the collecting community as far as I'm concerned. But this is just, I don't know, it seems kind of cold and ultimately unnecessary. You know, since I'm going to open this package, let me see how easily that would peel off if I were hoping to keep this guy in the box and on display. And yeah, just not easy at all. It's probably going to take some of the cardboard with it. Yeah, you just not easy. So, you know, ordering online is a total gamble. And if you are a collector that does such a thing, I do not envy you, because I would be frequently super frustrated by this. But hey, this is Just Open It, and I'm opening the package. Also, the mini comic that's included is completely crooked, and in fact, part of it is kind of stuck in the adhesion of the bubble here. So I don't know if that's going to affect the condition of the comic itself when I remove the bubble, but we're about to find out. And it's just kind of one of those things where when you're not buying it off the peg, you just get what they send you. Disappointing, I suppose. Fortunately, this is Just Open It, where I just open it. So we're going to do that right now. And just to be clear, there is some... Oh, and it's still... So, there we go. Okay. Yeah, significant damage to the mini-comic because of the way it was packaged. Now, that's no fault of the distributor. That's no fault of the person I bought this from. That's the way they got this, right? So that's an oversight on Mattel's part. And frankly, this is probably the only way this figure would move, is through that kind of blind because it's He-Man, but blind purchase online. So let's extract this Anti-Eternia He-Man, who on the back, with the power of Hellskull, the fearsome He-Man overthrew Anti-Eternia using his unmatched strength. So instead of Grayskull, you have Hellskull, and kid appropriate. That's, I guess, for you to determine. I'm an adult collector, so I'm not offended by the term. I just think it's odd that you would call something meant for kids Hellskull. Call me a Puritan. But here we go. I'm extracting He-Man now. Busting out of those plastic bonds that we frequently talk about here on my Just Open It series. And look, this is He-Man repainted. That's all this is. I would assume a very affordable figure for Mattel to make. So you get He-Man out of this mold, obviously. But then you also get Faker, his robotic doppelganger, built by Skeletor to trick He-Man's friends. And then you get this multi-dimensional He-Man as well. So 3 distinct characters out of one mold is pretty impressive nowadays. And we're talking about top to bottom. A lot of the Masters of the Universe figures reuse this torso, the arms and the legs. But to implement the head and the body armor, the whole 9 yards here, the accessories, and everything's it's just black. So it just is this evil kind of bizarro He-Man. I'm going to pop the accessories in here. And I dig the look very much, even though, again, I'm not super familiar with the mythology behind this guy. I bit the bullet on buying him. With Masters of the Universe Origins, I have not been buying the repaints. And the repaints have been specifically like the 2000X versions of these figures. Like, they released 2 versions of Evil Lynn, and they were simply repaints. Her skin went from yellow to flesh, I think, was the big difference. And I'm a traditionalist. I went with the yellow Evil Lynn because that's the one I had as a kid. I loved the 2000X cartoon, produced by, I think, Mike Young Productions. So shout out to them. I loved that cartoon. I loved its character designs and the animation style. But, you know, I couldn't justify spending another $15 on a simple repaint. But then again, here I am doing this with He-Man. Because it isn't just He-Man, and it's a different character entirely. So when you have these figures that are from the Origins line and they're meant to evoke the 80s nostalgia, but then you have the same line presenting figures from, you know, the early 2000s, it's the same character, just kind of updated. Again, I just couldn't justify that purchase. This, to me, is a completely different character that if I were a child playing with Masters of the Universe Origins, you know, this guy would fight alongside He-Man. And, you know, maybe you could use the 2000X characters as kind of his army. He goes to another Earth. It's that Earth where the 2000X Mike Young Productions cartoon took place, and he recruits those baddies, and he brings them to, like, Eternia Prime. There was, of course, a DC Comics miniseries called Masters of the Multiverse that presents a very similar story to that. And it does make collecting these figures fun if you have that in mind. But I dig this, and you could tell in the eyes there's a good shot. In the eyes, there's 2 colors there. There's a red, and then there's a white, like just a dot, just an accent. And that's a very cool detail. Very cool paint application here for this He-Man. Considering that the rest of him is just this matte black and very cool and evocative of evil. So I dig it, you know. As far as receiving it via an online order, not the most satisfactory experience, but fortunately, I'm not keeping these figures in the package. I already have this mini comic thanks to the Horde Trooper I found. So I'm going exclusively for the figure itself out of the package, and I think he looks great. And I don't regret purchasing this repaint at all. And if you're into unique Masters of the Universe characters that maybe the original line from the 80s, from our childhood, didn't offer, well, I'd suggest picking this guy up because he adds a cool dimension to your toy shelf. No pun intended. Thank you very much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Again, if you're a fan of pop culture, toy collecting, action figures, please follow me here on YouTube and on Instagram at AmazingAZ Comics, where I post about the comics and toys I love and the comics and zines I make. Tune in next time when I grab another unopened Masters of the Universe Origins action figure from my place here and I say, you know what? Just open it. I'll catch you next time.